Majuu, 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 Majuu. Now welcome everybody to the Wild Wild West. The shows that's untouchable like Ellie and Ness. From New York to London, we bring you the best. The originator, pepper tater, put me to the test. I see a skill, I'm cool. Huvunjika guu, listen up. Weka mikono juu juu, show ni majuu. Ndani ya gari, angalia juu tu. Ni mawingu, kata pingu. Tunapaa, up tunapaa. Far, far away, huko overseas. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is another episode of Radio Majuu. I'm your host, George Gichobi. And tonight I'm being joined by my guest, Peter Karenge, all the way in the DMV. Welcome, Peter. Introduce yourself and tell us where you're joining us from.
Hello, everybody. My name is Peter Karenge Nganga, and I'm joining in from Washington, D.C. Really nice to be here. Thank you for having me.
Welcome to the One Voice Hour on Radio Majuu, from Baltimore to Nairobi, from Atlanta to Accra. This is the One Voice Hour where the diaspora connects, invests, and transforms the future. Welcome, family. Today's conversation is not just talk, it's a blueprint for how the diaspora can move from sending remittances to building wealth, ownership, and legacy across Africa. Because let's be honest, every year, Africans in the diaspora send over $100 million back home. But the question is, how much of that is building structured and scalable investments? Today, we answer that. So I'm joined by a visionary leader shaping the future of U.S.-Africa economic engagement, men who understand structure, capital, technology, and execution. So let's get right into it. So we're going to start with diaspora and economic participation. Let's start with the big picture, because the diaspora is watching and they're asking one question. How do I plug in safely and effectively? So my question would be, what practical pathways are you creating to make diaspora investment safer, more structured, and more predictable?
Thank you very much, George. That's a very good question, but just to put everything in context, just a little bit about my background and who I am and what I do. As you've heard, my name is Peter Karenge, and I was born in Kenya. I was born in the humble side of Nairobi, in a place called Bahati, and I grew up in Nairobi. I went to school in Nairobi, went to university in Nairobi. I played some tennis competitively, then moved to South Africa and eventually to the United States. In the United States, I run a couple of companies. This is first, of course, I work for some small organizations and some large organizations. Some of the companies that I run mainly is B360 Incorporated, which is a U.S. government contracting firm that works mainly in Africa. We operate in more than 16 countries in Africa and in Asia, some in the Middle East too, mainly providing services in three key areas: architecture, engineering and construction, supply and logistics, but also in financial and technology management of these projects. We are proud to say we've grown that company to a company that is supporting almost 200 jobs, both in the United States and in Africa and Asia. So that's B360 Incorporated. We also run a private arm of B360 called B360 Investment. And B360 Investment, it's mainly just bridging capital between the United States and Africa. Then we have Pure Bridge Trading that mainly does trading. Then finally, we have a couple of organizations, but mainly around a platform called Remote Talent. And what Remote Talent does is basically figure out bridging capabilities, skills from Africa and other parts of the globe into the United States. So that's in a nutshell what you do. I do have a couple of foundations I'm involved in, a couple of boards. One of them is PKN, which also mainly is focused in bridging technology and education in the two continents. So that is us in a nutshell. Now, to answer your question, what are the practical ways that diaspora investments can be more structured, and the reason behind it? First, allow me to say remittances are important. Diaspora remittances to the from the United States to Kenya and other parts of Africa are very important. And just to give you the kind of numbers you're talking about, actually, George, it was I would say $4.95 billion in 2024, just to Kenya. Approximately $53 billion just to sub-Saharan Africa. It is a lot of money, meaning that the bridge it's already there. However, when it comes to remittances are mainly, I would say, emotional. It's somebody sending money to their mom to take care of some issues that maybe the brother needs some help. It's somebody sending money to their relatives. Every once in a while, it's somebody investing. But what we're saying is we are at a point where it should go beyond just remittances. It's just beyond remittances. There are other key areas that the diaspora, for lack of a better word, can be more impactful, can build more structures, be it in terms of trade, be it in terms of bridging the skill gap, be it in terms of developing businesses that can actually grow and create jobs, both in the United States and in Africa, or in Kenya for that matter. But just in terms of what it is that we're doing, first we want to say yes, we understand. One of the key issues that diaspora money or the diaspora businesses haven't grown as much. It's just fear. It's not lack of love. The diaspora many a times are scared of what happens to the investment. But what we're doing is allaying that fear. We've structured organizations such as B360 Investment, which solve exactly that. At B360 Investment, we create proper legal entities, proper escrows, proper arrangements, proper governance structures, so that your investments is not just a wire transfer with a prayer. So we've been able to use US standard project management practices and apply them in Africa projects, develop a bankable documentation, bankable reporting, bankable accountability, and building rails so that the trains can actually run. There are also other organizations that we've grown. For example, like Pure Bridge Trading, which basically tries to ensure that products that are grown in Africa, macadamia, avocado, coffee, and tea, can be bridged directly, and done so in a way that is profitable, is bankable, and that is traceable. So that is one of the ways that they are working. There are a couple of ways, including like the remote talent, which we'll talk a bit more later. But key is to understand that there is need to develop those structures, develop these processes in a way that they are safer, in a way that they allay the fears of the diaspora, that they will not lose the investment, they will not lose their hand and money. So that's I would say that's one of the ways that we're doing it, George.
Okay, all right. So there are a lot of misconceptions out there about doing business in Africa. So maybe you can give them a 360 view of how to handle that.
Thank you, George.
Is that where the name comes from, like 360?
Yes. We endeavor to provide a 360 solution in everything that you do, something that is conclusive, that meets the needs, and that also leverages not just the opportunity but also the capability of the people that we are working with. And yes, especially that are impactful. For us, impact is a big deal. We don't do what we do just because of the money. We are very, very keen on being impactful, on creating jobs, on improving people's lives, on powering growth. Actually, our motto is providing solutions that deliver results, innovative solutions that power growth, that transform communities. But just back to your question, some of the misconceptions, I would say maybe like three big ones. One of them, which is key, is that Africa is too corrupt to invest. Let's face it. Yes, there are a couple of issues that are out there, but let's be honest. There's risk everywhere. Be it economies in the West, in Europe, in the East. So the risks are there. The issue is just how do you mitigate these risks? Do you mitigate risk through insurance, through proper systems, through developing the correct relationships, through other ways that you mitigate risk in any other business. The other key aspect that prevent the diaspora from investing is they reckon that you have to be there to run it. That is wrong. You just need to be able to understand what kind of business you're running, but also develop the right systems. Develop the right systems. Most importantly is to work with the right people who understand what it is that you're trying to achieve, people who are have the capabilities that you're looking for, but also people who have integrity and understand and are loyal to the task at hand.
Okay. Real briefly, you talk about a model built on talent, products, capital, and execution. Break that down. How can a diaspora professional listening right now actually plug into that ecosystem?
I really put it first in understanding what their business objectives are, just like in any other space where you want to run a business. You have to have developed a good business plan, a good understanding of who your customer is, what is it that you're trying to achieve on the other ground, what is your value proposition, what is different about the business that you're running. Don't just do it because Karenge or somebody else is doing it. But also a key is to start. Which goes back to the third item that prevent a lot of diaspora from investing, which is saying that, hey, I'll do it when I go back. But that day never comes. You want to be able to develop those structures now. You want to plant that tree today. The best time was 10 years ago. But the second best time is this finally week. In answer to that question, it boils down to the people being able to talk to the right people, people who understand what your objectives are, people who have the correct skill set, people who have the right attitude that you're looking at, and those are many in Africa or in Kenya for that matter.
And long term, what role should diaspora networks play in shaping sustainable U.S.-Africa economic growth?
As mentioned, the diaspora is sending billions. You've had almost 5 billion just to Kenya, 50+ billion to sub-Saharan Africa. We have 51% of that. 51, depending on who you're asking, 51 to 54% of that is from the United States. But how you want the diaspora to plug into that in terms of the talent, in terms of the products, in terms of capital, execution, there are multiple ways. So, for example, for me, it comes to a simple framework where if you have the talent as a diaspora, be it in engineering, in finance, in technology, you want to be able to connect that to projects that can be done. Especially projects that are in Africa. For example, like what we do at B360 Inc, where we are very competitive when the United States is implementing projects in Africa, be it in infrastructure, be it in energy, be it in technology. You want to be able to compete on that regard. But also it's just the ability to bridge. For example, in trading, you want to be able to, as diaspora, to open that corridor for you. It's natural. You already are here, so you have the market, you have the people, you have the technology, the infrastructure that is required to bring that. So all you need to do is just bridge that with your counterparts on the other side. Bridge yourself with the other doers on the ground. And then once you understand what your lane is, pick that lane and run away with it.
Oh, okay. So now we can jump from fear to strategy. I'm glad I have you here. And if you're just joining us, this is One Voice Hour on Radio Majuu with Peter Karenge, who is the CEO of B360. So we move into investments and trade. Let's talk about money, but smart money in this case. So through B360 investment, what makes a project bankable for Diaspora Capital?
Thank you, and I'm glad we're using such terms. Despite being having an MBA, those are some terms that I've just gotten, and making those as daily discussions. Yesterday, I was in a summit where we were talking about the role of critical infrastructure, critical minerals on the U.S. Caribbean, or the U.S. Africa. And I can tell you that is the word that keeps coming, the bankability of a project. And bankable simply means, from that word bankable, that a bank will accept it, and a bank will only provide or work with you on a project that makes sense to it. And that means when it comes to bankable, especially for diaspora capital, you're talking about having clear title or rights. It has to be very clear. Hey, who actually owns that project? What is the ownership process in that case? What is the timeline as far as a good return of investment is concerned? What's the timeline for that? Who is the local operator? Are they credible? Do they have past performance working on this? Then eventually, is there a good exit strategy? For somebody to be safe, they want to feel they can exit in one or the other. Be it via a private equity, be it selling the business, whatever that means. So basically, you want to have at least those key items when you're discussing that with a serious investor. Yeah, not just your cousin. You want to be able to put your money where you can get good returns of investment. You have good timelines. You have a good local operator, and you have a good exit strategy. So for us, we stress we test stress every opportunity that comes through our lens before we actually bring it to either to the investor community, or be it as a project that we want to implement as B360.
So Africa is rich in agricultural exports, macadamia, you mentioned avocado, coffee, tea, but scaling remains the challenge. Where are the real gaps?
Yes, you're right, and definitely, I'm glad you're bringing agriculture. Agriculture will be key in the future. Africa is definitely will be one of the world's largest, if not the largest, bread basket. And yes, you have a lot of gaps, especially when you're scaling. For example, when you talk about avocado, macadamia, coffee, tea, you name it. But I would say the key gaps are two. First is just lack of good value add process. Most of the time, what you will find is most of Africa's products are sold at raw. We are still exporting raw fruits. We are still exporting avocado oil. Avocado, macadamia, still in kernels. You don't want to do that. We have to start thinking, how do we add value processes, be it from the aggregation, be it from the value processing, be it from the logistics, be it on the market level. Instead of exporting avocado, we want to be exporting avocado oil. We want to exporting guacamole. We want to be exporting the skincare ingredients that come from there. So the processing is missing. Our cold chain links are missing. So key is that lack of value add. The last part is the last mile stage. We want to be able to develop that cold chain processes. Certification for export markets. Yes, they are organic, and yes, they come in more expensive. But it's an issue of structuring them into a product that somebody can invest in and develop, but also in a way that you don't take it away from the farmer. What will make it successful is for Wanjiko to be part and parcel of owning of that value chain. Wanjiko should own part of that factory. Wanjiko should own, part of that processing plant, should own part of that marketing process, should own part of that organization that is actually selling that product or exporting that product, or even at the last mile, providing that product to distributors in the United States. So you want to be able to develop that value chain, but not taking it away from the common man. Ideally is for that farmer to own part of that process.
Okay. You have structured cross-border investments. What hard lessons have you learned that the diaspora needs to hear before jumping in?
I would say the main part is just relationships. Relationships come before transaction. The people have to come first. It doesn't matter how good a deal is. It doesn't matter how good a business plan is. If you don't have the right relationships, then it doesn't work. If the people that you're dealing with do not have integrity, that doesn't work. So the deal will always die if the people are not right. The second lesson is just good legal structures. We've learned that the hard way. Yeah, good legal structures matter so much more at times than the handshake. So get great proper entities in both jurisdictions. Learn that it's good to have that handshake, but it's also good to have written agreements. Mm-hmm. The other part is just understanding that the timelines in Africa are pretty elastic. They are key in terms of in Africa, the understanding of it's 3 p.m. is not necessarily 3 p.m. Yes, you have the time difference, but morning it's when the sun goes down. It can be 6, it can be 11 p.m., but that's not the case here. So just understanding that. The other key items like the understanding relatives and all of that, but that's neither here. I'm a huge proponent of family businesses.
Okay, just before we got on the show, I was talking to my family members, and we have a farm where we are trying to produce this food coloring product. And it can also be used for beauty products. And we are thinking, hey, Kenya has a lot of a big market for beauty products, not just Kenya, but East Africa. So if you can just get this product out, and I was trying to tell them, we can even get it overseas, maybe in America, because it's natural, it's organic, it is, has no side effects. Maybe I should come and consult B360 for how to get my lipstick, my K-Love lipstick to market.
most definitely, though that will maybe be pure bridge trading.
You don't discriminate on what kind of product or what kind of business that somebody brings to the table.
No, at pure bridge trading, no, we do not. I would be glad to give you a different support system, different advices, because most of the time a product is a product. Yes, you have products like an avocado, which is obviously perishable in comparison to macadamia nuts, which, as far as you treat them properly, they can last. They can have a shelf life of almost 6 months. But a lot of the processes are very similar. Aggregation and what have you are very similar.
Oh, okay. And your trade platform, how is it helping producers move from raw exports to value-added products that actually increase products and increase profit margins?
You want to think of Pure Bridge
Okay.
as a bridge builder, no pun intended. Yeah, we basically just build bridges. We work with cooperatives, we work with farmers through local
Pure
organizations.
360 is separate entities.
Yes, separate. Remember, B360 Inc. mainly works with U.S. government contracting.
Okay.
B360 Investment brings in the money. Then Pure Bridge Trading bridges the trade. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow.
So
it's a complete ecosystem.
Yes, it's an ecosystem, and it just makes good business sense to separate them. It's different business concepts, it's different registration, different certifications, and what have you. But this is on Pure Bridge Trading. Basically, what it does is just build the bridge. We work with farmers on the US, on the Africa space, and bridge them with the market on the US side. And also working backwards. Sometimes it's providing packaging, sometimes it's certification support, sometimes just connecting them to processors who already exist. So we are just a connector in the middle that turns that commodity into a product that can be marketed in the US. One of the projects we are very proud of is Bourbon Coffee, which is we work with the Rwandese cooperatives and working with the private equity out of Rwanda to sell their coffee in the United States. And now they have more than 5 coffee shops all around the United States, including just one here in the DMV. But key was to just help them right from the word go, develop that brand as coffee from Rwanda to a brand that you can sell that coffee here in the United States.
Oh, I didn't know Rwanda had a coffee, and if you're not careful, they might beat us in the process, because they are very focused on what they're doing. I have a friend in Kigali, keeps telling me to come to Kigali, so maybe that's where I need to be headed.
Yes.
Okay.
Actually, as far as their processing is concerned, as far as their marketing is concerned, they're a couple of steps ahead of us.
Wow. And this is exactly where we need, and this is why we were talking about policy. So that's where we need to follow up. And this is where wealth is created, not just in exporting, but in ownership of the value chain. All right, so let's move into technology and innovation. If you're just joining us, this is the One Voice Hour. I'm your host, George Gichobi, and I have my guest, Peter Karenge, who is the CEO of B360 right here in the DMV. All right, let's shift to digital economy, because Africa is not just rising, it's coding, it's building, and it's exporting talent. So how is a remote talent work transforming Africa's position in the global digital workforce?
Thank you very much, and thanks for mentioning our platform, remittances.org. For us, our premise is simple. Africa has a humongous pool of talent that the world doesn't know exists yet. They are developers, world-class developers. They are world-class data analysts. They are world-class web user interface creators, world-class graphic designers in Africa that the world doesn't know exists yet. So for us, it's understanding that, hey, how and solving that issue using remote talent.org. How does a developer in Nairobi, a data analyst in Kigali, a UX designer in Lagos, how do these people who are world-class able to outsource those capabilities while still in Africa? So there's absolutely no brain drain in that regard. How are you able to bridge that? And that is what remote talent.org is doing. It's making them visible and making them matchable to global employers. So what we're doing is we're shifting Africa from a place that receives outsourced calls centers to a place that actually exports elite digital professionals. That can change the GDP of a lot of African countries and that conversations entirely, because the pool is just unbelievable.
Wow. So you are a man of many hats.
Yes,
You
yes,
wear many hats. This is remotetalent.work. Well, okay, I'm glad I have you here on the show, so we have a lot to talk about. So moving on. When we talk infrastructure, logistics, and trade, what technologies are absolutely critical right now?
There are many. There are lots and lots of opportunities, but I would focus more on three. I'll say one is digital systems. Digital payment systems are really, really key. And yes, of course, we have M-Pesa, which was mind-blowing and way ahead of everybody as far as digital payments are concerned. M-Pesa proved Africa can really leapfrog that process. You really need money when you're visiting or traveling in a country like Kenya, where M-Pesa, run by Safaricom, is. But there's still that need for cross-border trade, both intra-Africa but also internationally. And yes, that is one of the gaps that M-Pesa is having. I have to say, yes, my good friend Peter Ndegwa, who leads Safaricom, has done a really great job. But you'll still find that when you hear the diaspora, you're struggling sending money due to one reason or the other, using it. So there's still a lot of opportunities. And I'd like to a shout out to PesaLink. I just met the CEO here last week, and PesaLink is thinking about how to provide those kind of solutions. So I think digital payments is a big opportunity that is really lacking. A second opportunity is just logistics tracking. We are losing so much value because cargo visibility is low. Be it working the logistics of transporting a good from here from the United States to Africa or to Kenya or wherever, or to Asia, but also vice versa. So there's a huge need for developing a logistical tracking infrastructure or technology. The other part that I say is really lacking in Africa is digital land registries and permitting. There's just so much visibility that needs to grow from that technology can provide. So there's a lot of investment source because of property rights that are not clear or accessible. Yeah, so I would say if we can fix those three, then you'll be able to unlock hundreds of billions of dollars. Just digital payments, logistical tracking, but also digital land registries and permitting. They are key areas that needs to be worked on.
Wow. All right. So there's work to be done. And what about young African tech talent listening right now? How do they compete globally while still, contributing locally?
First, I would say one thing our youth want to understand and to know is that they're as good as anybody out there, if not more so, even better, and you can compete at any level. I'm the product of a youth who was brought up in some of the tougher part in Bahati Islands. Yes, worked very hard and went to study at the University of Nairobi. But when I came in here, one of the things that I learned very quickly is our capabilities, our knowledge, our skill sets. We are ready and prepared to compete globally. But definitely, we still have to be able to develop those skills. I had to learn very quickly, how do I compete very fast and utilize the skill set that I had, be it in architecture, but also figure out what's the nexus of architecture, not just in architecture and infrastructure, but also in technology, but also in business, in finance. So we need to provide and learn those skills really quickly. I would say right now, skills like cloud. How do you work on the cloud? How do you AI is growing and growing really quickly. Cybersecurity, data science. But we have still to be able to utilize those skills and root them locally by solving problems in Africa, and solving African problems, using African skills, using African technology, but also understanding that, once you solve those problems, then you can scale them globally. You can build that cold chain tracking up for the Kenyan avocado farmers, but then sell it to a logistics company in Rotterdam or in New York. That's the model. So you're not just choosing between Africa in the world, but you're being the bridge yourself. So yes, you're solving African problems using African solutions, but that solution doesn't have to just remain there. You can scale that solution anywhere else, and be able to do so successfully.
Wow, wonderful! This is the new gold rush, and this time it's digital, and it brings another opportunity to the youth. So to young people in Lagos, Nairobi, Joburg, and even right here in the DMV, what opportunities do you think exist today for youth to plug into global value chains?
I would say a couple, but one of the ones that come really quickly to mind, and I spend a lot of time when I'm in Kenya, in the village, in Murang'a, and a couple today is just the power of e-commerce. One of the things my foundation does is put out computer hubs in some of these places, and you find that you have very, very talented young people who can write code, who can develop a very good interface. So I'd say right now you have e-commerce, freelancing, and agribusiness support services. I would say those three, which work very, very well. If you're like probably 22, 21, 23 years old and you can write a bit of code, you can write well, you can design a bit of code, you can manage a project for a little bit. I know one gentleman I really like working with called Kimani. And he can code, he can write projects, he can do some project management, but he can also develop platforms that exist where you can put in dollars. If you're near a farming community, you can do aggregation, quality control, logistics coordination. And that is some of the things that you're working on with Pure Bridge Trading, with Soko Africa, where the youth are able to find entry points and start. And the idea is to be able to enable them to do this by themselves, to develop these platforms or to develop sections of these platforms where they can practice their coding skills by building e-commerce, by building logistical solutions, by supporting agribusiness.
Wow. And this would also be something that a diaspora entrepreneur trying to build something that connects the USA to Africa. What advice would you give them?
A couple, which is for me is one of my mantras in all of those businesses that are begun. Is start small, start small, but structure it correctly. Make sure you have a decent business plan. Make sure you have a decent a working plan on how you're going to implement that business plan. But still, don't wait for the perfect plan. Open that LLC. If you're in the United States, go to www.ic now. I don't make any money from them. Register the counterpart in Kenya. Open the bank accounts. Make your first small trade or your first service transaction. Then learn from it. What worked? What didn't work? Then scale it. Unfortunately, too many diaspora business people, sometimes they write the business plans for too long. You talk to somebody today and then 3 or 4 years time, they are still talking about the business plan. But the market doesn't wait. Get that local partner to work with early. You can't build that transatlantic business just by thinking about it. You have to get there. You have to try. and start, and then build it and scale it as you move on.
Yeah, they say an idea without execution is just a dream.
That is
so
true.
we wanna make these dreams turn into reality. All right, thank you very much. If you're just joining us, this is Monday Majuu on Radio Majuu, the One Voice Hour, and I have my guest here, a man of many hats, Mr. Peter Karenge, and we're discussing very, very important issues that affect diaspora or vice versa, from Africa to diaspora and diaspora to Africa. So let's talk infrastructure and land, because this is where diaspora people believe this is where you have to put your money in, because development is where vision meets reality. I'm working with this company called Centum Real Estate and Vipingo Development Project. If you've heard about them, these are structured developments. What stands out to you about Centum Real and Vipingo Development?
Okay. Of course, I've heard about Centum and I know about Centum, but of course I do not work for them. But I have to say, I know some very good gentlemen who are good friends of mine who work for them. One of them is Fred Murimi. He's one of their key people on the finance side, and of course I've met Ken Bai. I also know Arthur Adair, who used to work for them sometime, who's a very good friend of mine. So definitely a great company. I like their projects. I like especially Vipingo. I think Vipingo is one of the more exciting land plays in East Africa right now. They have been able to integrate residential, industrial, SEZ, hospitality, and what have you, all in one really good ecosystem. And I think they've demonstrated that you can be able to build investment-grade real estate in Kenya, and that an investment grade that actually meet international standards. And I think that's a great template that diaspora investors should be studying and replicating in smaller scale across the country. So I think they've been able to prove, hey, this can be done, and they're actually taking the next step of coming in here and marketing what it is that they're trying to work on.
Yeah, we had last week. I had a friend who is data security analyst, and another friend of mine also, who is also an engineer, structural engineer, and we discussed this developments in AI and technology and structured developments that have been ready-made for especially diaspora people who are not so hands-on. They have people that are doing everything from the construction, the management, the development, and all that. Which brings me to my next question. How can developments like this better integrate local communities while also opening doors for diaspora participation? I think this is where the rubber meets the road.
I would say in a couple of ways, but first, and the one that really matters a lot to me, and is one of the key hindrances of even successful US that comes between a successful US project in Africa or anywhere in the world, is just lack of good local participation, not understanding what the importance of that local participant. So I would say two ways. One is ensuring that there's really good local procurement mandates. Every major development should have a very clear policy that requires that a certain percentage of goods and services have to go to local businesses. That is really, really key. It's not charity. Not even in the form of aid. It's actually a contract. It should be contractual. Now, 25% or 30% of that specific opportunity has to go to the locals, be it in forms of a supply chain, in terms of materials or logistics, be it in forms of services or people that are being employed. Then the other part, when it comes to diaspora investment tranches, is just being able to structure some portion of that to a certain capital raise, in the way that it's specifically accessible to diaspora investment at maybe $10,000 to $50,000 entry points. Right now, these projects are mainly institutional investors only. So there is that opportunity. One of the opportunities we are working with B360 Investment is actually working on a B360 Diaspora investment fund, which we hope to use to bridge some of those issues, whereby the diaspora can develop capabilities to invest in projects such as those. I'm glad to see some of the funds like the infrastructure fund recently floated by the Kenya government. But the key weakness of that when it comes to diaspora is just lack of diaspora involvement at the board. So there's need to develop funds, develop private equity structures that have diaspora investment participation at the leadership. That way the diaspora are that much more comfortable investing in those. But I think that is one of the key areas that some of these developments can be able to do, is to just be able to integrate diaspora investment tranches into that, be it in forms of funds or in forms of individual diaspora or in form of diaspora institutions. So there is that gap that they need to use. If they can be able to figure out how to incorporate that, then their products would be that much more attractive to the diaspora, rather than just developing those projects individually or using local institution, but without diaspora involvement, and then coming to sell them to the diaspora. There's need to involve them right from the word go. That way, there's that much more level of confidence building when it comes to the actual end product.
Wow, that is very well put, and thank you very much. So one thing you've said that is very important is you have a very good partner on the ground back home. And I'm thinking like Centumry is a very good partner in terms of credibility, and also they have a track record that they can show. So if you're out there and you're looking for a well-structured investment, Centumry, Pingo Development, and also they have one in Uganda, which is called Pearl Marina. So East Africa is covered in that. You should go out there and check out Centum Real Estate. Oh, well, now we're coming to another, maybe our last section of the show, and this is AGOA focus. Because, with all these investments, people need to know how to make this money that they can invest in. So we can talk policy, because frameworks matter. So explain AGOA real quick and tell us why it's still underutilized despite its potential.
Thank you. Definitely, I believe most of you guys have heard about AGOA, which is the Africa Growth and Opportunity Act. It enables commodities, products from Africa to get into the United States free of tariffs. It had some issues with the renewal, but it has now been renewed. It was actually renewed for the rest of the year. I believe it's in February 2026. So it is good for some time. But I think it still remains one of the most underutilized opportunities that are out there. And key is just outstanding information. The people who know about AGOA are not the people who produce the goods. And then the people who produce the goods do not know that AGOA exists. So it's more of an information and capacity gap. It's not a product gap. Like, for example, Kenya has the textiles, the food products, the leather products, but getting that from an eligible product to the US retail shelf requires knowledge of custom, knowledge of labeling, logistics, buyer relationship, that most producers, or most farmers for that matter, or most textile producers just don't have access to. So there's need to fill in that gap. And I believe that those are some of the opportunities that are there.
Wow, okay. I think this is a work for Radio Majuu, where this potential avenue where people can obviously make money. We can spread the word. That's the best we can do. So how can diaspora entrepreneurs leverage AGOA to build profitable import-export businesses?
I think this is, and I'm glad you brought up that aspect of radios like you as being able to bridge that gap like you're doing, and you're really doing a good job of this. George, congratulations to Radio Majuu for such a great platform, because this is exactly what we need to be able to bridge these information gaps, these capacity gaps. I believe AGOA, for example, is one of the key opportunities that diaspora can utilize. If you live in America, you know US buyers, you know US tastes, you know US compliance requirements. You have family in Kenya that know or are the producers themselves. You know, so you are literally AGOA, George. You are you know. So you want to build trading companies. You want to source from these Kenyan cooperatives. Cooperatives are really key to ensure that the aggregation is that much more simpler. You want to be able to start that importing duty-free, you know, utilizing AGOA. You want to sell it to Whole Foods. You want to sell it to Amazon. You want to sell it to that local grocery shop that you use in Maryland, George. You want to develop specialty retailers, you know, because the arbitrage is actually real and it's legal, and it's just sitting there waiting for people like you and people like us to bridge.
Wow. Which sectors are still wide open and untapped? Maybe I can decide to invest in one of these under AGOA.
A couple. For me, I would say mainly would be because everybody eats at the end, but now specialty foods. You know, so specialty foods are like macadamia, nuts, like coffee, tea, honey, spices, and I have to say I'm growing all of those apart from the spices. I have a farm that's growing macadamia, a farm that's doing coffee, some tea, but also I have a list of say maybe that 5 honey hives. So that's a key space that is lacking. Textiles and leather goods are huge opportunities. Flowers are huge opportunities. Yes, handcrafts and home decor that are growing, exporting that African aesthetics market to the USA, and very, very increasingly digital services through AGOA that hasn't been fully involved to capture that. So the physical goods is wide open right now, but also the digital services space is growing and growing in really quickly.
So maybe my question would be, do you have to manufacture these goods yourself? Like you say, you're growing coffee and tea, or you can enter into the space, you know, as a trader?
So on a couple of levels. First, of course, if you're in Kenya, it's part of making sure that your coffee is your coffee plant is producing quality coffee beans. So from that agricultural perspective, a lot of farms, especially in central the Rift Valley, they grow a lot of coffee. But also just also taking that step ahead, figuring out what kind of certifications that you can get in terms of that. But then also developing the structures, the systems like cooperatives that enable you to provide or deliver quality coffee and yet in good quantities. The market, I would say, is there. Key is that, hey, how do you deliver quantity and quality of a certain period of time? But yes, key also is just understanding that there is need to develop those policies, those trade facilitations in terms of the correct infrastructure that is required. And these are where areas that some of the Kenyan embassy, the Nigerian embassies are coming here in the United States. They have those. They have some of those requirements embedded in their systems and can share that with locals. But also is just aggregation, which is one of my of the key areas that we are very interested in. just developing. How do you develop those aggregation centers, those hubs, so that the small producers can consolidate their products wherever it is that they are. Then finally, and that is also important, is just US buyer education. American retailers need to understand what compliance is, what is coming in, what does AGOA entail, and not just waiting to be approached and then respond so in the correct way. But a lot of opportunities from both sides in that regard.
Wow. So we need to look on the side of policy and then also the side of the infrastructure. All right. There was some talk about AGOA being removed or replaced or renewed or something like that. Looking ahead, how should stakeholders prepare for the future or renewal of AGOA?
A couple of key areas. Yes, of course, we are glad it was renewed. But what we want to do is to stop treating it like a gift and start treating it like an actual business framework. It only exists because it actually works for the United States, but also works for Africa. So it is a business framework. It's not just a gift. But there's still need for, especially the diaspora, to lobby actively. The diaspora vote and voice in Washington matters. It matters a lot. There's need to build businesses that create US jobs through African imports. America wants jobs. America wants their products out there. America wants to grow also. Yes, it's America first, but America first doesn't just mean that it is just America. It has to be a win-win for America and for Africa, and everybody understands that. So the person who is able to develop that win-win political argument, that will win. And African governments have the data to be able to show that. Of course, Americans also have that. So it's just an issue of saying, hey, and when they're pitching that, this is how many jobs, this is how many US jobs that AGOA has created. This is how it has contributed to the US GDP. And this is how, why you need to renew AGOA and show that with evidence, not just gratitude. And it's something that we are able to do. I mean, right now, I'm having this interview in Washington, D.C. We rent, we employ, we create U.S. jobs. And that's the language that works. It's not an issue of gift. It's not an issue of aid. It's an issue of, hey, what is the business framework? What's the business premise that makes it a win-win?
Wow, this has been very, very entertaining and informative. And that's what we are here trying to do. Pass on as much information as we can, because information is coming at us fast and furious from every direction. There's potential here. There's business that is viable there. There's opportunity there. So we have to bring all these things together and ensure that people are getting the right information. And thank you very much for coming through to our show. So I want to end on vision, because everything we have discussed today leads to one place. What does a successful US Africa business look like in the next 10 years?
Thank you. First, thank you very much for this opportunity. I really appreciate it. And you are doing a really great job bridging that information gap. I can't say that enough. When mtu wa watu kama vile tunasema,
asante sana
na haugatekeeper. Like you. But for me,
like you are from Buru.
Oh, no gatekeeping, no gatekeeping, no gatekeeping. Success, and it's something I'd encourage the other diaspora. Sometimes we are accused of gatekeeping. We want to to share those opportunities. But for me, success. For me, my vision for success is very easy. It is that young woman in Gakoi, Murang'a, being able to sell her avocado oil on Amazon.
Okay.
Success for me is that diaspora engineer in Virginia or in Seattle, being able to co-own a tech firm with an office in Nairobi, and that office in Nairobi has outlets in Lagos, and also is eventually represented in the Silicon Valley in San Francisco. For me, it is that African American investor to be able to hold equity in a Kenyan REIT or a real estate investment trust. It is that AGOA or its successor to be the backbone of $500 billion trade corridor. For me, those are the things that means we are successful. Success is when those bridges are built, and not just built well, but they are busy. And that's what we are doing. That's what we are building at B360 Inc. That's what we are building with B360 Investments. That's what we are building with Pure Bridge Trading in South Africa. That's what we are building with Remote Talent Network. And we'll get there. I know we'll get there. And not because it's easy, but because people on both sides are ready. And we have God, and we have the support of people like you.
Okay, perfect. There's a lot of information that is floating around, some of it fake news as they call it, but we want to zero in on the credible information, because we know for a fact that opportunity, especially brought in by technology, is there. There's opportunity on both sides of the Atlantic. Either you are here in Diaspora or you are in Africa. They call it the global village. So how do we connect the dots? And I'm so glad that you're here. Maybe you can give our viewers the websites, the maybe email, contact information for your organizations, and how people can get in touch with you, and maybe they can continue this conversation either here on Radio Majuu or on your platforms.
Okay, no, thank you very much. I'm pretty available. You can find me on LinkedIn, Peter Karenge, Nanga, and I'm also on Facebook, on IG, and also on TikTok. I try to get the word out. Our websites for the trade is purebridgetrade.com. That's purebridgetrade.com. PURE bridge BRIDGE trade TRADE.com. Then the one for the talent is remotetalent.work. So remote REMOTE talent TALENTE.work. It's not a .com, .work. Then we have the one for the capital raises, B360 Investments, S. That's B360 Investments.com. If you want to see how we're doing
much on behalf of our sponsors, One Voice Consortium, OVC, and Center Marie, I want to say asante sana. And to everyone listening, this is your moment. The bridge between the diaspora and Africa is no longer
by the US government. It's just B360Inc.com. B360Inc.com. And thank you very much, George, for that opportunity.
Asante sana. That has been Peter Karenge in the DMV, in the District of Maryland, Virginia, District of Columbia, Maryland, and Virginia, joining me on this theoretical. It is being built right now. So get informed, get connected, get involved. Follow us on Radio Majuu, share this conversation, and be part of the One Voice shaping our collective future. Thank you very much, Peter Karenge. I know there's going to be a lot of questions from our audience and our listeners, so we might be compelled to continue this conversation at a later date. Thank you so much for coming through. This has been the One Voice Hour. Thank you.
Thank you so much, George, and God bless you. Thank you. Asante sana.
All right. I appreciate it. And we're out.
Remember, you're building His image and likeness. God is love and love is God. And God is in all of us. So bring out the G in you. I'm your boy, O Genius, Blast Master G. Peace. Bless. See you later.